Okay. So they'll be able to see the intro slide as they join. So we have about 88 seniors on right now. Again, good morning, everybody, as you join our team's live event for your virtual graduation assembly. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Okay, good morning, seniors, as you're joining. We're going to get started in just a moment. You should be able to see Dr. Haney and PowerPoint. I'm just going to wait for a couple more minutes to get started. Should be streaming. Again, good morning, seniors. As we have more join our team's live event here, serving as your virtual graduation assembly. We're going to get started in about a minute. We are streaming right now. You should be able to see Dr. Haney, and you also should be able to see the start of the PowerPoint slide, the slide deck of information. Okay, Dr. Haney, it's 9:51. We have about 234 seniors on right now.
Okay. All right, and hopefully more join. Dr. Leister, you can hear me, right? My microphone's working and everything's good?
Correct. Yep. And then we have your video feed live, and then the start of the PowerPoint. So they're side by side.
Okay, great. Well, then we can get started. So thank you very much. Congratulations, guys. We're here. We are almost done. And if you know anything about me, I'm very detail oriented, and I have a ton of information to share with you about graduation. But as I'm looking at this slide, one of the details that I messed up is my counting. Graduation is in 3 days. Today is Monday, and you are graduating on Thursday, June 10th. So a couple of things that you need to know. The ceremony is going to start promptly at 6 o'clock. We're all going to be processing onto the field at 6 o'clock. So if everything goes according to plan, what we're asking you to do is to report to the front lawn of the high school at 5:15 that evening, and we will put you in alphabetical order so that it aligns to how you are seated on the field. So that order is going to be really important for graduation. And a lot of folks will ask me like dinner plans or how long it's going to take. And I would say to you, plan for about an hour and a half by the time that you get your diploma and you are on your way out of the high school. I'd say plan for about an hour and a half. So some things I want to just make sure that you guys are clear on. We still don't know. We're watching the weather every day. We're watching the hourly when we can. We're watching what the what to expect, and we're still hoping that things change between now and Thursday. So the weather's still up in the air. We're not making any decisions right now. We're going to continue to watch the weather. Unfortunately, at this time, it's not looking great for Thursday night to be outside with a chance of 60% of rain, but things can change. And remember, if we do have to reschedule, that rain date is going to be Friday, June 11th. And it's also not looking great for outside, but we will see. We will continue to monitor, and I promise you guys will be the first ones to know where we are and what night and what the plan is for your graduation, okay? So we will make the decision for the inside ceremony either Thursday or Friday, and so stay tuned. We will absolutely communicate all of that information about the location for an indoor ceremony if needed later this week. So folks, some of the things that I need to make sure that you know about graduation is that, ladies, you should plan to wear a dress, a skirt, or a nice pair of dress pants, dress shoes or sandals. The lower, you'll appreciate this tomorrow when you have a chance to walk across the stage, but the lower the heel, the better. The stage, the ramps, they're steep. And if you're wearing these high heels, it's going to be hard to move and hard to walk up and down those ramps. We do say no to flip-flops, but if you have a nice dressy pair, we will agree to allow you to wear them, but we do say no sneakers, no jeans, okay, for female dress code. Gentlemen, you have to have a shirt with a collar and a tie on. You'll see it through the gown, and so it needs to look presentable at the top of your collar. Dress pants, no shorts, no jeans. Nice pair of shoes, no sneakers, no sandals, and I'm going to remind you a couple of times, don't forget the tie and the collared shirt. Okay. In terms of belongings, ladies and gentlemen, there should be nothing that you're bringing with you. I know you're going to have cell phones with you, right? And possibly even car keys. I would say to you, leave everything that you can at home because it's safe there. If you bring a cell phone for the ceremony, I'm going to ask you to turn it off. And anything else that you bring, we're going to have a box with Post-it notes and rubber bands, and we're going to ask you to put those items in that box that will be safely maintained for the duration of the ceremony. And then when you come back to get your diplomas at the end of the night, we will make sure that you get those items back, like your car keys and whatnot. The less you take with you out onto the field, quite frankly, the better. So what are some of the expectations? You will process onto the field and wear your gowns fully zipped with your cap and tassel. We changed the rules this year, so you can decorate your cap, and on the next slide I'll explain to you a little bit more about where you can find that information, but nothing can be attached to the gown. You will be checked for appropriate dress prior to the ceremony. So when you assemble on the front lawn at 5:15 on Thursday night, we will have faculty and security and administration who are checking you to make sure that you're appropriately dressed. And then remember, you guys signed a graduation contract agreeing to behave it, to the dignity of the event and respecting the dignity of the event. So any misbehavior will unfortunately result in your removal from the ceremony. So what do you need to know about the cap? Well, I guess I should tell you, first of all, you're going to get your caps at tomorrow's practice, and then you have until obviously Thursday to decorate it. So you are invited to decorate your cap. The information is on the website, the high school website. So get out your materials, start being creative. You can go onto these websites here to get some ideas of things to do to decorate your cap. And the only thing we ask is that you decorate them tastefully. Difference makers, hopefully in your English classes you completed your letters, and we will have a post or a link on the website for this special recognition for those teachers who've impacted your lives K-12 over the last 12 years or so. At the end of the night, guys, if you don't have any younger brothers or sisters, or you really don't want this graduation gown to take up additional space in your closet over the next 10 years, you are welcome to leave behind your graduation gown. We will have them cleaned, we will have them pressed, and then it provides us an opportunity to give gowns to those students for whatever reason who don't order or purchase them in the future. So please know that we welcome any gown donations that you have following the ceremony on Thursday night. But again, it's optional. It's not required that you return your gown. You've purchased them, and you certainly have a right to take them home. So what do you need to know about the tickets? So tickets will be required to enter the stadium, and each of you will receive 10 tickets in your cap and gown bags tomorrow, okay? The other thing I would say to you is the ceremony is live streamed. So if anybody is not available or lives across the country or whatever the situation may be, there is a live streaming access to it so they can see it in real time from the comfort of your home. Remember, the rain date is Friday. If the ceremony is moved inside, you now have 2 tickets. So every one of you gets 2 tickets for people to physically participate in the graduation ceremony if we move the ceremony inside. And again, live streamed so everybody else can watch it from the comfort of your home. If you need handicapped seating, I continue to get emails, which is great. You guys can also stop by, or you can have mom and dad email, but we do have a handicapped seating section on the field, and we do have tickets available for that. The one thing that I would say is those tickets do not add more to the 10 that you get. When you have a guest who is accessing the handicapped seating, they need to provide both tickets, the general admission ticket and the handicapped seating ticket. So it still only allows for you to have 10 guests at graduation. And again, those tickets are going to be provided to you tomorrow. Unfortunately, those bags, when you get your cap and gown tomorrow, are not sealed. So things do and will fall out of those bags and have historically fallen out of the bags. Please, please, please make sure that you take those tickets and the tassel that for your cap and you put them aside, or you put them in your pocket. You do not want to lose them because we cannot replace tickets if lost. We talked about the handicapped seating already. If you need handicapped seating, you can come see me or have your family send an email to me or Mrs. Duffy, and we will certainly accommodate. If you've already requested handicapped seating, those tickets will be with your general admission tickets in your cap and gown bags tomorrow. Parking. Guys, parking every year at graduation is tight. And we typically have access to the front lawn of the high school. And this year, because that's where we are lining up, that is not a parking spot. So I am begging you, if at all possible, to please carpool. You guys need to be here at 5:15. The stadium opens at 5 o'clock for seating. I would say to you, to your family, get here early. That's how you're going to assure yourself a parking spot at graduation on Thursday night. Masks are required to be worn at all times by both you on the field and your friends and your families in the bleachers and in the handicapped seating section. So please remember to bring a mask. Please know that the expectation is that you are wearing it at all times at graduation on Thursday. I mentioned the graduation contract. If there are a handful, there's a few students who have not yet signed that graduation contract. That will be in your cap and gown bag tomorrow at practice if you have not signed it. But in order to participate in graduation, we do expect that you agree to the contract, and that essentially means that you're going to respect the dignity of the day. And I would say to you guys, this graduation is all about you, right? It's what you've done for the last 12 years in Wissahickon School District, but it's also a really important event in the lives of your family and friends, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them and for you in terms of seeing you participate in graduation and get that diploma. So please, please, please be mindful of that. And not only that, but it's your last opportunity to really represent Wissahickon School District in a very positive light. So we do ask you to please respect the dignity of the event. The next few slides, I'm going to talk to you a lot about what to expect at graduation and what the procession is going to look like. So you will walk into the stadium side by side with a partner. There's a lot of walking that night from the front lawn of the high school to the stadium. We process in through the gates closest to Lower Gwynedd, And then you will walk to the up and down the stage when you get your diploma. So one of the things that I want to make sure that I emphasize with you is that you want to wear comfortable shoes. We'll talk a little bit about what I have next on the third bullet here on the slide, but your walking order is going to align to how you are seated on the field. So if in the seating chart, and I'll show that to you next, if in the seating chart you are on an outside row, you essentially are starting a new aisle on the field, and we'll talk about that in a second. Guys, Lindsay Frenia and Lindsay Schmidt will be reading each of your names at graduation, and we will practice those names tomorrow. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. However, if there are students who are absent on the night of graduation, we need to know, okay? So if you get here on Thursday night at 5:45 and we are still missing the student who's supposed to be in line behind you or in front of you, I need to know that so that I can communicate that to Lindsay Schmidt, Lindsay Frenia, about not to read that student's name. So please, please, please pay attention to and let us know if somebody's absent. Also, twins, most of you have asked to sit on opposite sides of the field so that you can process in together. And so that is one thing that we want to make sure you do. When you walk into the stadium, the way I've got the walking order set up is you will walk in together, one twin next to another. On Thursday night and also at practice on Wednesday morning, Mrs. Castor and Mr. McMinn are going to be at the goalposts at the far end of the stadium field, and they are going to stand there and they are going to tell you when to walk, because the goal is that we aren't rushing our way onto the field. The goal is that you and your partner are keeping 5 yards of distance between you and the group in front of you, okay? So it's a slow procession. Once we get onto the field, you're going to walk with 5 yards between you and the partners in front of you. So this is an example of the seating chart. If we are outside, this is just one example. I will post the seating charts to Schoology after this assembly is over today, okay? But so that you can see how you're seated, if you are Lindsay Frenia or Sarah Al-Hafar or Kelly Castillo, and go down the list on the far right of this slide, you are a line leader. So if you look to the left of this slide, you'll see it says center aisle. You're going to walk in that center aisle, and then Lindsay Frenia is going to take you and lead you to the right. And then once that row finishes, Sarah is going to take the next row and lead to the right. And you should line up accordingly, according to this seating chart. So I'll share this with you, but this is really how you will be, so you'll have a good idea of where you'll be seated on the field. And that's really important for tomorrow, because tomorrow morning at about 10:20, I need you to find your seats so we can start the outside practice, okay? So I'll share this seating chart with you today, send it to you via Schoology so that you have a pretty good idea of what row you're sitting in and where exactly you're seated so that you can then find your seat on the field. The other thing you need to know is that the seats on the field tomorrow morning will be labeled with your name. So if you have an idea of what row you're in and what side of the field you're on, it should be pretty easy for you to find your seat. Just a couple of reminders about graduation. Some of your families may have pre-ordered, and it's still open to pre-order, but we have a company that contracts with us and sells graduation flowers at our stadium. So they will, they're there, I think they're there, right, they're there as early as 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon to sell you or for your family members to pick up bouquets of flowers or teddy bears or necklaces or whatever it is that you've purchased or want or your family wants to purchase for graduation. The really nice thing about buying the flowers from this group, folks, is that they do provide, give money back to Wissahickon High School. So we use it every year for the senior class. So it's a really great way to pay it forward to the future graduates of Wissahickon High School. And like I said, you can pre-order through June 9th, which is Wednesday at 8 p.m. if your family is interested. And then they also will sell in person on June 10th. Okay, so what do you guys need to know about practices? So tomorrow morning, we're going to have our first in-person practice, and it's going to start at 9:30. And at 9:30, we meet you in the stadium. From 9:30 to about 10:20, 10:30 or so, we're going to have you return your laptops. We're going to have you return your senior textbooks. We are going to return to you any time capsules that we have from when you were in elementary school. And we are also providing breakfast treats. So an opportunity for you to mingle with classmates, return things, get things, eat a little breakfast treat, see your teachers. At 10:20, I need you in your assigned seats. And then from about 10:30 to a little before noon, we'll run through graduation practice. So again, at this practice tomorrow, you're going to get your cap and gown, you're going to get all your tickets, you're going to get your graduation tassel. Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia are going to read every single one of your names at tomorrow's practice. We'll talk again about that in a couple of minutes. From practice on the field at about 11:45 or so, we're then going to process in that order from how we are seated, and we're going to do a reverse procession. We're going to go to the front lawn of the high school from the stadium, so you have a good idea when we get to the front lawn where you're supposed to line up for practice on Wednesday. Okay, after practice tomorrow, about 11:45, 12 o'clock or so, anybody who has contacted me about participating in Victory Laps will do so. So we'll dress in our cap and gowns, we'll walk across the street to the middle school, we'll walk through the halls of the middle school, and then buses will be prepared to take you to your elementary schools. And we should be back about 1 o'clock, 1:15 at the very latest, with the Victory Laps tomorrow after practice. So just a couple of reminders about the textbook and laptop return. Again, starts at 9:30 tomorrow morning. We need you to bring your books labeled with your name and rubber banded by subject. So if you have multiple novels to return for English, get those in a rubber band, put a Post-it note on the top with your name on it, and bring it to tomorrow's practice at 9:30. We'll have teachers, we will have secretaries, we'll have staff members outside with boxes and tables to collect those materials. And then in the natatorium lobby is where we're collecting laptops and chargers. So depending on what you want to do first, please make sure that you get to the natatorium lobby for the return of your laptops and your chargers. At about 10:20, we already talked about this. I need you to find your seat. Everything will be on your chair, so you'll get your caps and gowns and tassels and tickets. It'll be on your chair with your name. I do know that we've got a couple of students who will be absent, but I will check to make sure we have everybody or that most of you are accounted for. We will have copies of the seating charts that I'm also going to email to you or post to you for In-Schoology. And when you are seated tomorrow, I would say please pay attention to who's seated on your right and who's on your left, because that essentially is how you are lining up when we process into the field. That procession and how we line up on that front lawn of the high school is exactly how you will be seated in the stadium. So it's really important that you not only pay attention to who's in front of you and who's behind you, but that you stay in that order, because it's aligned to how Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia is going to announce your names and how you are seated on the field. Let's talk a little bit about practice on Wednesday. So practice on Wednesday, we're meeting you on the front field of the high school. We will line up in that same order in which you are seated. So we'll have a walking order. You'll line up in pairs. I know there's going to be kids who are absent on June 9th. I've heard from a couple of students who say they have other commitments, medical appointments, but you are expected to be here. And I think what's most important is that you will process onto the field in pairs, okay? Twins will always walk together if that's how it's been set up. And for the night of graduation, you will walk with a partner. I don't care if that partner is the same person that you walk onto the field with on Wednesday. Things are going to happen. Some people are going to show up on Thursday night at graduation who weren't at practice on Wednesday, and vice versa. Somebody's not going to show up on the night of graduation who was at practice on Wednesday. The objective is that you all walk onto the field with another student, but it doesn't have to be the same student that you practiced with on Wednesday. Okay, so that's really important. And like I said, the twins, if you've asked to walk next to each other, then that's something we will honor. You will walk into the field together. Again, if somebody's absent on Wednesday, if you could let me or one of the other teachers know, And then on Wednesday at practice, we'll have you find your seat. You'll process in just like you are in the walking order. And then ending that practice, Dr. Woodland Smith and Dr. Rothenberger are going to help you make that 21 on the field, because as you know, that's how we end our in-person graduation, is making that 21. So we'll do that at the very end of practice on Wednesday. All of that will take about an hour, and then you've got your senior picnic on the lawn outside the auditorium from 11 to 1 o'clock that day, okay? Just a couple of reminders after practice on Wednesday. So at that 11 o'clock, if you are in Camerata and you are participating in Camerata, we're asking you to just report to Mr. Conahan's room immediately after Wednesday's practice. Obligations have to be cleared by Wednesday at 3. If they're not cleared, you won't receive a diploma, and we can, again, make arrangements at a later date for you to get it. But by Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we start pulling those diplomas for anybody who has outstanding obligations. Folks, I've put out a number of phone calls about obligations. If you owe an obligation, you will find it in the fees tab in Infinite Campus. But again, those are only obligations that are aligned to 9th through 11th grade. The other thing that I promise you we will do is, if you have an outstanding obligation from 9th through 11th grades, there's going to be a notice in your cap and gown bag tomorrow that says, hey, you've got this obligation, don't forget to clear it before 3 p.m. on Wednesday. All right, so something that's a little different with your class versus some of the classes that have come before you is we are not having practice on Thursday. Okay, so we've got today's assembly, we've got Tuesday and Wednesday's in-person practice, tomorrow at 9:30, Wednesday at 10 a.m., and then I don't see you again until Thursday night at 5:15, and we meet on the front lawn of the high school. And at that time, when you show up, you should already be dressed in your caps and gowns. All right, so what happens after the ceremony on Thursday night? So again, a couple of reminders. The ceremony, you're going to want to wear a mask. You have to wear a mask. After you get your diploma, we're still asking that, or I'm sorry, after the ceremony, we're still asking that you keep that mask on to go get your diploma. Outside of the natatorium lobby, under the overhang, there's going to be a bunch of tables set up alphabetically with your school counselors standing behind them, and they will have you sign for your diploma. And then once you sign to say that you are in receipt of it, you'll get the diploma. Take some pictures, spend some time, with your friends, just touching base, saying hi. But that's it. We just ask for you to sign that says that you're in receipt of your diploma, and then off you go. And it's a pretty seamless process. It's pretty quick. A couple of reminders that NHS officers are asked to return your stoles. And if you do want to donate your cap or your gown back to the school, please do so. There'll be a box there outside the natatorium for you to drop them off. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the graduation practice. Tomorrow, if you are speaking at graduation, I need your speeches because I'm going to put them in hard copy. So if you're a graduation speaker right now, I'm talking to you, I need a copy of your speech. And then after tomorrow's practice, you'll have a chance to practice reading your speeches. If not tomorrow, then on Wednesday, we'll make sure that you have an opportunity to practice. You're just not going to practice in front of all of your classmates. The first time that the rest of the seniors will hear your speech will be on Thursday night. All right, so we already talked about the textbook and laptop collection. We already talked about what to expect. At about 10-20 or so, you're going to find your seat. Lindsay Schmidt, Lindsay Frenia are going to read all of your names. We'll process to the front lawn of the high school, and those of you who are staying with us for victory laps will then dress in your cap and gown, and we'll start by walking across the street to the middle school. Okay, so what do you need to know about the distribution of diplomas? Okay, so we're 3/4 of the way through the ceremony, folks. We've talked, people have given their speeches, our valedictorian, the student in your class who's giving a speech has spoken. Lindsay's addressed you. Dr. Blair has given her speech. So we're pretty much done at this point when we start doing distribution of diplomas. And so what happens first is that Lindsay Schmidt is going to ask the class officers to stand. And there's a couple of them in the first row of the field. She's going to ask the class officers to stand, and they're going to move to the side aisle. Only the class officers at that point. At that same time, Dr. Woodland Smith and Dr. Rothenberger are going to head up to the podiums on the stage, and they're going to start reading the names of the 6 class officers and representatives in your senior class. Okay? We'll practice what that looks like tomorrow, and then right from there, Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia start reading your names. So what you need to know, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, what you need to know is that as a whole row, you will rise and you'll walk to the side aisle of the stage, okay? Nicole and Kylie, you guys are gonna stay on stage and you're gonna help just pile and make sure that there's diploma covers available. And then Haley and Noelle are gonna stand on the outside of each of the student rows and essentially tell you when it's time to stand up and usher you out to the sideline, or not the sideline, but the side of the stage, the side of the chairs, so that it's time for you to start walking up. Okay. You wait at the bottom of the ramp until your name is called. All right. So we've got, when you see the stage tomorrow, you're going to see 3 ramps, one in the middle and then one on each side. You walk up that side ramp and you walk across the stage to the center aisle. And as you walk across the stage, you are picking up the diploma cover. Okay. So Nicole and Kylie are making sure that there's a pile on a cart there. It's a nice covered cart. It's going to be piled with diploma covers on top. As your name is called, you walk up on the stage, you walk across the stage, you grab that diploma cover. Nobody's handing it to you this year. You're picking it up yourself. And then you're going to walk down the center aisle and back to your seat. Okay. Dr. Crisfield, our school superintendent, and Dr. Blair, our building principal, are going to be standing at the top of that ramp down the center. And you're either going to fist pump or elbow bump them as you go down the aisle or down the ramp and back to your seat. Okay. Tomorrow's practice, Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia are going to read. We are actually going to practice this. They are going to read each and every one of your names. And this is your opportunity to correct them if they are mispronouncing, okay? You want your name announced correctly at graduation night. So if we aren't pronouncing them correctly, that's when you need to correct Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia on the pronunciation. The other thing that I want to just remind you about the receiving your diploma is that when your name is called on Thursday night, you stand at the bottom of the outside ramp. We contracted with Legacy photographers and they're there taking your pictures. So they're going to hand you a diploma cover and you're going to smile, and then your name is going to be called and you're going to walk up onto the stage and you're going to hand that diploma cover off to somebody standing behind you. So there's going to be somebody at the bottom of that ramp taking your picture so they can capture that picture for you. The same thing is kind of happening when you walk down the ramp in the center of the stage. There's another photographer there who's just taking your picture as you walk across the stage and down the ramp, okay? So don't be surprised if some stranger at the bottom of the ramp as you're walking up onto the stage hands you a diploma cover and wants you to take a picture. That's all intentional, and then you just hand that diploma cover off to somebody standing behind you. Okay, so let's talk about graduation from beginning to end. Lindsay Schmidt's going to lead you guys onto the field. You're going to walk in pairs. Again, I don't care who that person is as long as you are in line, okay? You need to maintain the sequence for your side of the field. You're going to walk in pairs and twins will walk together. Seniors, you will go directly to your seats as you process onto the field. Camerata is going to go to the risers. The rest of you are going to walk directly to Mr. Kelly, Mrs. Kelly, Dr. Roth, Dr. Woodland Smith. They're kind of going to be lining the middle of the stage and ushering you into the rows. When you get to your seats, stay standing. Do not sit down. You're going to stay standing because the first thing that we do at the graduation is the national anthem. Gentlemen, Lindsay Schmidt is going to ask you to remove your caps. So that includes the graduation caps. Those caps come off of your head, and then you can sit down after the national anthem and put them back on. She will then address you. Lindsay will then address you. She has a little speech, and she'll ask you to have a seat and put your caps back on. The first graduation speaker then gets announced. It's Olivia Welsh. After Olivia, we do a district congratulations from one of our elementary principals. This year it's Mrs. Venezia who's giving that. Then there will be a music selection, so Camerata will rise and go sing. Dr. Crisfield will then address the class. We'll have the valedictorian, Alex Yum, give his speech. We'll do the alma mater. Lindsay Schmidt will ask you to stand for the alma mater, and the Camerata will go and sing that. Dr. Blair will then speak. Then I do a brief award and recognition section or session. Mr. Bliefeld will give the school board address. And then what will happen is Dr. Blair and Mr. Antonio will take the two podiums and they will present the class. So they have a little speech arranged where Dr. Blair says you've met the requirements of graduation, and then Mr. Antonio accepts you as graduates of the class of 2021. The presentation of diplomas we've already talked about. That's essentially what we're going to run through tomorrow with the Lindsay Schmidt and Lindsay Frenia reading each of your names, you guys standing at the bottom, processing up. You'll go back to your seats and sit down once your name is read and you've walked across the stage. When you go, and this is really important, and so I'll continue to give you some reminders about this, but for everything up to this point, your tassel is on the right-hand side of your cap, okay? After you've all received those diploma covers, and guys, there's no diploma inside of them, okay? The diplomas are actually outside the natatorium lobby. You're gonna go there after graduation and get them from your school counselor. What you're actually receiving is just the diploma cover when you walk across the stage. But after you receive your diploma cover and the last name is read and the last student sits down, Lindsay Schmidt is going to tell you to take your tassel and move it from right to left. After that, the Camerata is going to sing the benediction and you guys are going to be asked to stand up. We are at the end of graduation at this point, okay? But a couple of things I need to make sure that you know. There's several adults who are seated on the stage, and the entire Wissahickon High School faculty is in the wings, like they're kind of off to the sides of you guys on the stage. You'll see it tomorrow when it's all set up and we actually practice. When the Camerata goes to sing the benediction, you guys are asked to stand up and you're going to see the adults start moving. So the people who are on the stage are now going to process down that center aisle of the stage, the center ramp, and we're going to line up in the middle of the field. And the teachers are going to start moving. They're going to start moving from the wings and they're going to line up on the sides of the field, okay? You are not moving. You are staying put with Dr. Woodland Smith and Dr. Roth. You are standing at your seats. Lindsay then, the benediction is done. Lindsay then is going to say something about you going to make the 21 on the turf. And then Dr. Woodland Smith and Dr. Rothenberger are going to walk you onto behind the seats onto the, at the 50-yard line and lower, close to Lower Gwynedd. You'll make the 21. And we'll practice that. We practice that on Wednesday after practice. And then Lindsay will, once the 21 is formed on the field and your parents have an opportunity to take the picture, Lindsay Schmidt will dismiss you. And at that point, you toss your caps in the air and graduation is officially over. Okay. And again, it sounds like a lot, but none of these speeches is very long. So I would plan for about an hour and a half at the most. And I don't expect it to even go that long. If you signed up for Victory Laps, we will be at the middle school tomorrow at 12 noon. About 12:20, we're going to leave the middle school. If you're going with me to Lower Gwynedd, we'll walk over to Lower Gwynedd. Everybody else is going to be bused to one of the 3 other elementary schools. You'll be there about 20 minutes or so before you head back. And like I said, I think you'll be back to the high school by 1:15 at the very latest. Remember, it's another opportunity for you guys to be examples to the younger students. You're representing the high school. We want you to be a good role model. I think you will find it is an amazing experience. Students and teachers are going to be lining the halls of the building, clapping and cheering for you. So I hope you truly appreciate and recognize how special this opportunity is and what a great opportunity, what a great thing to happen. It's just so exciting and so much fun, and everybody who's done it before you has always said some really great things, and it's just a really nice event. We talked about Wednesday's practice already, so I'm not going to run through this again, but I want to see you guys here at 9:30 tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll arrange on the front field. It's really important I know who's absent. It's really important that you stay in that walking order. On Wednesday, just like tomorrow, I'll share some final graduation reminders, answer any questions that you have. On Wednesday, Dr. Woodland Smith and Dr. Rothenberger are going to help you practice the 21 on the field. And then your senior class picnic will follow after practice that morning. Both of these practices on Tuesday and Wednesday, folks, are mandatory. You are expected to be there, and I will be reaching out or contacting anybody who is not. So you are expected to be at these practices in order to participate in Thursday night's graduation. Some reminders from Mrs. Anderson. We will be sending final transcripts on Monday. So no request is needed unless your college plans have changed. If you want a copy of your high school transcript, you should contact your school counselor or Miss Anderson. And you're being asked to check with your respective colleges to ensure receipt of the final transcript. Remember, they're going out next Monday. If it doesn't arrive, you want to let your school counselor or Mrs. Anderson know immediately. A big ask from Mrs. Anderson is that you join our Wissahickon Alumni Network. So you can go onto the Wissahickon School District webpage. You click on the Our Community Our Community, and then you click on Alumni, and then you complete the Alumni Network form. And something to note, your information is not shared publicly. It's just allowing us to keep in contact with you, or if there's a student who's attending the same college or university, to put you in touch. It's been very helpful, and we really ask you to join that alumni network. The exit survey. So if you haven't done this already, it's on the web page. It says class of 2021, complete your exit survey by June 24th. It'll take you no more than 5 minutes. We really would like your feedback. You'll use your Wissahickon ID to enter the survey, and like I said, it's open until June 24th, but please take 5 minutes and complete your senior exit survey. I talked a lot. Thank you for your attention. It's been about 40 minutes of information. There's no way for you to ask questions, so what we're going to do is, if there are questions that I did not answer, if you would type those questions into the Q&A box in your Teams, and then Dr. Leister is going to help me address your questions. And then, as always, if there's anything that I did not answer, folks, you can always come see me in the administrative suite, or send me a Schoology message, or send me an email. Dr. Leister, I'm guessing this is where you want me to stop sharing my screen.
We can, yep, and I can just send your video feed through. And then I'm just going to send your video feed live. Okay. And then, good. Okay. So we might have had like one of our first questions, a couple people having difficulty getting into the meeting, but we're going to acquire a recording of this session, and then we'll be able to put that out to everybody. So also, I guess for people on this call, on this meeting, this live event, they can always go back and look at it if they missed it.
So I see the questions. It looks like there's a few of them. If it's all right, I'll just jump through. So, yep, thank you for answering that, Dr. Leister.
Sure.
Somebody asked about a vaccination does not apply. No, the school district's policy is that masks are required. So the masks are required regardless of whether or not you've been vaccinated, for you as well as for your family and friends. If you can't make it tomorrow, it looks like somebody asked that question, you need to let me know. We need to come up with an alternate plan. The expectation is that you are at both practices in person. Yes, so the next question is, if we already have our cap and gown, should we bring it to the practice on the day of the victory lap? So that's tomorrow. The victory laps will follow practice tomorrow. If you already have your cap and gown, because some of you, that's a great question. Some of you are wearing your sibling caps and gowns. Yes, please bring them with you. We do ask that you wear your cap and gown through the halls of the elementary schools. Somebody asked about being allowed to take your masks off for pictures. Sure, I mean, I would think that if you're at the bottom of the stage and you want to take a really quick picture, sure, you can take your mask off. It just goes back on as you process across the stage and then back down. Where is graduation? Hoping that there's more to that question than where is it, but it's here at the high school. It's scheduled for Thursday night, and it's scheduled to be outside at 6 p.m. in the stadium. We will meet you guys on the front field of the high school at 5:15 that evening, okay? If you already gave your books back to your teachers, that's awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. And I assume some of you have done that. So from 9:30 until about 10:20 tomorrow, it just gives you an opportunity to mingle with some friends. I need you in your seats about 10:20 tomorrow for the graduation practice. No. So the next question is, is there a dress code for the practices? No, guys, it's going to be hot tomorrow and Wednesday during the day, even though we're starting practice at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. No, you are not required to wear the same dress clothing that you are wearing on the night of graduation. So dress comfortably tomorrow. Please dress comfortably tomorrow and bring water. It's going to be hot. What happens if it rains tomorrow during practice? Charlotte, I have no idea. I would imagine we will move inside to the auditorium, but it's actually looking like we'll get practice on both Tuesday and Wednesday outside and should be pretty successful. But stay tuned. If it's raining or it's not looking good, we'll have to move it to another location. Yes. Anybody who's accessing the stadium would need a ticket. So even if it's a student who's going to take a seat a child who's going to take a seat in a bleacher, yes, a 2-year-old would be considered a ticket for the graduation ceremony. If you have questions about the victory lap, because it looks like some people are asking if they signed up for victory laps, that would be me. Reach out to me. I've got a master list. I'm happy to add you to the list of students who would be attending the victory lap, as long as we can accommodate you on the buses. Okay, so you can reach out to me directly if you want to know whether or not you signed up already. Is there going to be enough parking on rehearsal days for virtual students? Yes. Yeah, so we really don't. What I can tell you is we will not be ticketing students in the student parking lot for the graduation rehearsals, okay? And anybody else who's driving to school tomorrow is going to be arriving at 7:30 and parking in their designated spot. So when you guys get here at 9:30 tomorrow, there's plenty of parking. You can take any spot you want to. Essentially, it'll be open for you, even if it's been assigned to another student. It's okay. That student should know, based on this conversation, that you can just park in another parking spot. We will not be ticketing students during the graduation practices tomorrow or Wednesday. So yes, there'll be plenty of parking for you to park in the student lot. I think I already answered the question about the dress code for practice. There isn't one, so dress according to the weather for tomorrow. Does Camerata leave the risers and throw their caps in the 21? It's an interesting question. It's a good question for Mr. Conahan, to be honest. I don't know what happens once you go sing the benediction. Maybe I don't believe that you've typically participated in the 21. I actually think in the past you've been on the risers and thrown your caps from there, but it's a conversation that's worth having with me and Mr. Conahan if you'd like to see it done differently. Students should park in the student parking lot for practices. Where do you find the exit survey? Online. So just go to the Wissahickon High School website and you'll find the link for the student exit survey there. I don't actually know anything about, so the next question is, are we able to pick up our yearbooks tomorrow or Wednesday? I don't know anything about the yearbook distribution, but I will find out and I'll send a message via Schoology. So good question about the victory laps. So no, we are not allowing you to drive yourself. You must participate by riding the buses to the elementary schools. If you remember, we were going to do a car parade and then things kind of opened up a little bit in terms of the pandemic. So now we're going back to, and we have access to the buildings at the elementary schools. And once we did that, we are providing the transportation. So we will ride buses with you guys to each of the elementary schools. Victory laps will start right after practice tomorrow, so plan for about 12 noon. The front field is the field. Somebody's asking about where is the front field. The front field of the high school is on, what's that, Houston? So right there between us and the middle school. Somebody's asking about where I go to get handicapped seating. You come here to this office. You can reach out to me or to Mrs. Duffy, and we can provide those tickets for you. There is no practice on Thursday, guys, just Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're asking, it looks like somebody's asking about the special stoles to be worn or any, the cords maybe for the National Language Honor Societies. You don't need them for the practices, just for the actual ceremony on Thursday night. Does Camerata sing during practice? I don't think so. That's why you're going to see Mr. Conahan on Wednesday after practice, I think for one final practice of the songs. Will you be able to go around the school for yearbook signings? So that's a really good question. I would say hold those yearbooks until Wednesday's senior picnic, and our teachers are going to make every effort to get outside to see you guys. But no, remember, our teachers are still teaching tomorrow while you're practicing, and true for Wednesday and Thursday as well. No, you know, that's a really good question. Emma asked a question, do we have to wear the shoes we are wearing at graduation to the practice? The answer is no, but I would say if you're questioning how high of a heel, it might be worth bringing them. Though I can tell you honestly, the ramps to the stage, to walk onto that stage, guys, are very steep, like, and there's no hard handrail, like it's a rope. It's not going to keep you from missing a step. So if you have a question about the shoes that you're wearing, you are going to get to practice walking across the stage tomorrow. I would say bring those shoes, put them on your feet and give it a try. When will we know if graduation is moved to Friday? We will make the call later this week, Thursday probably. We're going to wait and see what the weather looks like. But it has to be early enough in the day on Thursday because we do have told you about the live streaming, so we do have to make some decisions so that their equipment is safe. And so if there's any chance of rain at all on Thursday, we will either move it inside or move it to Friday. No, Camerata, you do not. Nobody's practicing singing. Nobody is practicing their speeches during the practice when I have all of the seniors on the field. So you do not need to bring your music to the graduation rehearsals. When would you like us to return your parking tags? Another great question, because I don't have any idea, but I will get an answer to that question. No, my email is not still under Gebhardt. Many of you know me as Ms. Gebhardt in the past. No, it's K Haney, so K-H-A-N-E-Y at wsdweb.org. Yeah, Jack, if you're going with me to Lower Gwynedd, we're just walking across the street, so no buses to get us there. Yes, you get your caps and gowns tomorrow, guys. They're going to be on your seats when you show up for practice tomorrow, along with your tickets and your tassels. So be thoughtful. Those bags are not sealed and things do fall out. Graduation practice tomorrow starts at 9:30. Oh, Dr. Brash is here to answer yearbook questions, but I'm not sure we can hear her. So maybe she'll put something in the chat if she's here. Yes, folks, anybody who's taking a seat in the bleachers will need a ticket at graduation, okay? Unfortunately, somebody's asking a question about extra tickets. I am not in a position to provide extra tickets, but I can tell you that there are many of your classmates who probably are not using all 10. So I would say reach out to a friend and see if anybody has an extra ticket for you. But I am only in a position to be able to offer you 10 tickets for everybody. And remember, if we are moved inside, that number goes to 2. Senior picnic is free. Senior picnic is free. And then the last question, and so I want to make sure I'm very clear about this. Guys, we are not driving cars to our victory laps. It is no longer a car parade. If you signed up for a car parade, you needed to sign up for the victory laps. They are going back to the way they've always been done, which is we take school buses to the elementary schools and we process through the halls. So you will not be driving your own cars to the victory laps. And we will leave from the front lawn of the high school tomorrow about 12 noon and head across the street to the middle school. And from there, the buses will be waiting for us to take us to the elementaries. Yes, Anaya, if you already have your cap and gown, you do need to bring it with you tomorrow if you're participating in the victory laps. If not, you can leave it at home. You don't need your cap and gown until Thursday night. Courtney, tomorrow you're going to get your tickets in your cap and gown bags, okay? And be thoughtful. Again, those bags don't seal. You want to hold on to them. Dr. Brash says you can buy yearbooks at lunch today and after the practices this week. So thank you, Dr. Brash, for the answers to those questions. And the senior picnic is on Wednesday, guys, right after my graduation practice. Our practice outside will be at 10 a.m. and the senior picnic follows at 11 a.m. on Wednesday until 1 p.m. that afternoon. Okay, I'm going to say thank you. I think this is all the time that I have. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for all of the questions. If there's anything that I have not answered, you please let me know and we will get an answer for you, okay? All right, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you, Dr. Haney. I'm going to end the live event now.